Halifax has some of the most breathtaking coastlines in the whole of Canada, which makes it a dream destination for many. But here's the thing, if you're moving here without a plan, you could be in for a rude awakening. The housing market in 2025 is pretty tough, and getting around without a car, nearly impossible depending on where you live. Before you pack your bags, there's one critical factor that could make or break your experience, and most people don't realize until it's too late. Let's dive in. Let's start with something that's going to shape your daily life in Halifax: transportation. And trust me, this is a big one. Unlike other major Canadian cities, Halifax has no subway or train system, which completely changes how you're going to get around. It's something many newcomers overlook until they're stuck waiting for a bus in the freezing cold, wondering why nobody has warned them. So let's look at some key points here. Halifax Transit single ride, $2.75 cash, mobile or pre-purchase tickets, making it one of the most affordable transit systems in Canada's major cities. Monthly passes are coming in at $82.50 and can be purchased online or at a customer service centres throughout the whole of the city. Downtown routes run every 10 to 15 minutes during weekdays, providing reliable service for commuters working in the city centre. Suburban routes, you're probably getting into more like 30 to 60 minutes, which can make coming from those outlying areas a little bit challenging if you don't plan carefully. Evening service ends around midnight on a lot of the routes, so late night workers, think about budget rideshare or taxi services. Halifax Peninsula features pretty challenging hills, particularly around Citadel Hill and South End near universities, which means if you're a cyclist, it's a little bit daunting. We do have around 67 kilometres of bike lanes, but only 15 kilometres are protected, and the best routes are on Bedford Highway and portions of Hollis Street. Winter cycling, well, you got to be pretty hardcore and you better get some proper gear. Freezing rain, poorly cleaned bike lanes are fairly common in the colder months. Car ownership is typically 80% of our residents and is essential for those people who are living outside the peninsula, especially in like Bedford, Timberley, Hammonds Plains, Fall River, where bus services are limited. Parking, you're hitting $15, $20 a day, monthly passes $200 to $300, so it's a significant expense if you're a peninsula commuter. Snow tires between December 15, March 31, about $1,000 to $1,200 a set, are a legal requirement, adding cost to vehicle ownership. Insurance starts at like $1,200 and goes as high as possible, and is typically higher than other provinces because of weather-related claims. Halifax Dartmouth Ferry is the same price as bus ticket, $2.75, with free transfers between ferry and the bus system within a 90-minute window. Every 15 minutes during peak hours, 7 to 9, 3 till 6, 30 minutes on off-peak, which does make it a pretty reliable commuting operation. It operates from 6:30 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. weekdays, reduced weekend hours, and offers spectacular harbour views that tourists will pay for but locals get as part of your daily commute. While getting around Halifax can be a challenge, the coastal charm, the community, the vibrant lifestyle make the trade-offs worth it for many residents, and that brings us on to our next topic. But before we get into that, if we've not met, I'm Richard Payne, a proud Halifax resident for nearly 2 decades. My team and I have helped countless newcomers settle into this incredible maritime city. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, because I promise you're going to get insider knowledge on the market that you're not going to find anywhere else. One thing I love about Halifax is how it combines the warmth of a small town community with just enough city amenities to keep things exciting. This perfect balance is what's kept me here for over 18 years, and with so many newcomers coming up, this is why they're calling it home for the long haul, despite some of these challenges. Let's get into natural beauty access. Beaches are within 30 minutes of downtown, talking Crystal Crescent, Lawrencetown, Rainbow Haven, all on the Dartmouth side, each with distinctive characteristics from surfing waves in Lawrencetown to serene sandy stretches. Urban green spaces are throughout the city. Point Pleasant Park, Halifax Public Gardens, Shubie Park in Dartmouth all give residents daily access to nature without really getting outside the city limits. Getting into summer, we're talking about kayaking, sailing, paddleboarding, May to September, with rental facilities available at multiple locations around the harbours and the lakes. Extensive hiking trails for all experience levels, such as the Bluff Wilderness Trail, Saltmarsh Trail and Polly's Cove, which is near Peggy's Cove. In winter, we're talking Emerald Oval for free ice skating December to March. Ski Martok, Ski Wentworth give you the downhill skiing options with a bit of a reasonable drive. We have a pretty vibrant music and cultural scene. We're talking the Marquee, the Carlton, the Seahorse Tavern, which actually is Halifax's oldest bar, collectively host hundreds of shows annually, from local talent to international acts. Annual festivals such as the Atlantic Film Festival in September, Halifax Jazz Festival in July, Nocturne Art Festival in October create community gathering opportunities throughout the whole year. We have an expanding restaurant scene. You're talking North End's Agricola Street is a popular culinary destination with acclaimed spots like Bar Kismet and the Bicycle Thief offering waterfront dining. And Dartmouth has definitely got its own food scene going on as well. Moving on to weather, we have milder climates than the rest of Canada, like talking -10 to 0. Rarely do we get below -20, and the average can be about 10 degrees difference from Toronto and winter extremes. Our climate does bring dampness and frequent precipitation changes, and it's pretty common to experience rain, snow and sun all in the same winter day. About 5 to 8 days of freezing rain annually, Toronto's 5 to 10, creating some pretty unique winter challenges that newcomers from drier climates can find a little bit frustrating. Spring hits us up in around mid-April, earlier than in Montreal or Ottawa, and cherry blossoms and spring bulbs get up in late April. We have a pretty good atmosphere, friendly, approachable vibe where conversations with strangers are common and pretty welcomed, creating that small town feel within a city environment. Local business owners typically remember to repeat customers by name after just a couple of visits, giving that personal connection that's increasingly rare in the larger centres. Active neighbourhood groups and community associations provide easy entrance points for newcomers through street festivals, farmers markets and charity fundraisers. Newcomers consistently report making friends here in Halifax a lot quicker than in larger Canadian cities, giving us that East Coast hospitality is a real phenomenon. This appealing lifestyle is drawing many newcomers, but what about job opportunities? And I know this is a major concern for people considering the move, so let's look at Halifax's employment landscape to see if you can actually build a career here whilst enjoying that coveted maritime lifestyle. So here's the thing, Halifax's economy is diverse, but some industries offer far better opportunities than others. Understanding the job market before you make the move here is key. I've seen too many people relocate without a plan only to struggle finding those well-paying jobs. Key sectors here, public sector is 23% of our workforce. Provincial government, you're talking 7,000 employees with headquarters downtown and offices throughout the city, do provide stable employment opportunities. Halifax Regional Municipality, 3,000 employees with jobs ranging from administration, planning, parks and public safety. Federal government offices including Department of National Defence, Canada Revenue Agency and of course Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada. Starting salaries, we're talking 50 to 65 with some pretty excellent benefits and pension plans that often make up for a slightly lower base pay. Hiring processes are like 3 to 6 months, so plan accordingly if you're going to target this sector for employment. Healthcare is about 15,000 plus employees. QE2 Health Sciences Centre, IWK Health Centre are major employers, with the QE2 being Nova Scotia's largest hospital complex across 10 buildings and 2 sites. Some non-clinical positions such as IT, 65 to 85,000, admin, 45 to 70,000, and facilities management, 50 to 75,000, offer some pretty diverse career paths. Nursing positions start at around 75 to 85, but often require overtime because of staff shortages. Potentially, that actually increases your actual earnings. Healthcare job growth has been projected at 12% over the next 5 years, higher than the overall job market, making it a pretty secure sector for employment. Higher education, about 7,500 employees, and major institutes are Dalhousie, largest with 6,000 students, 4,000 faculty and staff, St Mary's, which specialises in business education, Mount St Vincent focuses on education and professional studies, and NSCAD, Nova Scotia College of Art and Design. They have support staff positions all starting between 45 and 60 in areas like student services, admin, campus operations, but also get excellent benefits. Faculty positions, typically you need that PhD doctorate, 80 to 150 depending on rank and speciality, and offer a good work-life balance compared to corporate sectors. Tech sector is about 35% growth in the last 5 years, with 300 plus companies now based in Halifax, including local success stories like Redspace, Dash Hudson and a couple of others as well. International companies include IBM, Ubisoft and CGI have all opened Halifax's offices, drawn by the talent pool and lower operating costs compared to Toronto and Vancouver. Salaries, we're talking 75 to 95 for software developers. Maritime and Defence is over 10,000 employees, with the Halifax shipyard getting 1,800 workers with long-term contracts. Canadian Forces based 7,000, which is military and civilian personnel, and skilled trades we're talking 65 to 90 annually. Tourism and hospitality is about 15,000 plus workers seasonally. You're going to get peak employment there between May and October, with service positions about 35 to 45,000 annually. Management about 50 to 70,000. So how has remote work impacted Nova Scotia's job market? Well, approximately 18% of the workforce does now work remote. We have lower housing costs, 40% lower than Toronto, 45% lower than Vancouver. We have co-working spaces, $200 to $500 a month, and of course direct flights to major cities facilitating occasional in-person meetings. So now we understand the job market. The big question is, can you afford now to live comfortably in Halifax on local salaries? This is where we're gonna hit the road. Let's break down what it costs to live here in 25. Cost of living. So the breakdown here, we're talking about the average cost of living in Halifax and is it worth moving here? For a single person, the average cost of living is around $3,700 a month. Where does that money go? This is a crucial detail because whilst housing costs really steal the spotlight, there's going to be other expenses that you need to consider when you're planning your move to here. So let's break down the monthly expenses. Housing. Average one-bedroom apartment, $2,000 to $2,100 a month, reflecting a pretty big increase of 40% since 2020 that shocked a lot of long-term residents. Two-bedroom, $2,400 to $2,800 with newer buildings and amenities commanding the top end of this range. Basement apartments, $1,400 to $1,700, often unregistered, and be careful because of legal compliance and safety. Let's say you're sharing a room, let's say $700 to $900 including utilities, which is a common solution for students and young professionals in the first years. Downtown commands about a 15 to 25% premium over Clayton Park, Lower Sackville, Fairview, but this gap is starting to narrow down as suburban areas become a bit more desirable. Utilities are going to run you $150 to $200 a month for a typical apartment, which gets electricity, internet, and maybe natural gas, which is often an overlooked expense in budgeting. Power, $80 to $120 a month. If you've got electric heating, it's going to be higher. And Nova Scotia Power has been increasing our rates annually, about a 6% increase approved for 2025. Internet, $80 to $100 for reliable high-speed services from Bell Alliance and Eastlink. Net mini budget options compared to other larger cities. Also, if you're looking at pre-1980 buildings, they've often less efficient heating systems, so your winter costs can be a little bit higher in those areas as well. Groceries run at, I'd say, $400 to $600 a month for a single person, depending on your diet and shopping habits. So become strategic where you shop. It's roughly 8 to 12% higher than Ontario because of those transportation costs, because Halifax is at the end of the supply chain, with this difference most notable in our fresh products. Fresh products are 15 to 20% more in winter months because they get imported, so seasonal eating becomes a little bit more economical. We do have some budget options such as No Frills, Giant Tiger, Gateway Meat Market, which can all help reduce those overall grocery costs compared to other Canadian regions. Looking at transportation, public transit runs at about $8 to $250 a month for a pass, a lot cheaper than Toronto at $156 or Vancouver, which is about over $100, but less comprehensive service. Car ownership, you're talking, let's say, $500 to $600 a month, excluding the car payments, but covering gas at $200, insurance at $100, maintenance and parking downtown are all amortized, and of course, get winter tires. Ride sharing, it's a little bit limited, about $12 to $18, primarily in central areas with Uber and Lyft having smaller driver pools than in larger cities. Taxi services are more widely available than the ride sharing, but expensive at $2.70 initial charge plus $1.70 a kilometre, often necessary in outlying areas during late hours. Looking at income and taxes, our average salary here is about $52,900, which creates tight budgeting for single income households when compared to the cost of living. Cost of living, going back to that, we're talking $3,700 a month, requiring really dual incomes for many families to live comfortably. Nova Scotia does have a higher provincial tax rate than other Western provinces, with our rates being between 8.79% on the first $29,500 to 21% over $150. HST is our combined sale tax and is 14%, which is higher than other provinces like Alberta at 5%, Ontario 13%, or BC at 12%, affecting everyday purchases. Long story short, your biggest expense is going to be that housing, and that's where many newcomers are experiencing kind of the biggest sticker shock. So let me walk you through the reality of Halifax's housing market in 2025. It's changed dramatically over the past few years, and you're going to want to be fully prepared before you make that move. Housing reality, this is something that can make or break your experience and deserves your full attention. Halifax is currently facing one of our toughest housing markets in Canada, with vacancy rates around 1% or below and prices at all-time highs. I'm not trying to scare you, but this is important to understand exactly what you're walking into before you make the move. Let me break down the 2025 annual rental market by neighbourhood. Downtown Halifax, just over $2,000 average for a 1-bedroom apartment, with the newer buildings giving facilities like gyms, concierge service, they're commanding premium prices. North End, we're at about $2,133 for a 1-bedroom, good range of $1,900 to $2,400, and it's experiencing gentrification with a 35% price rise over the last 5 years. South End Halifax, about $2,100 again for a 1-bedroom average, but the competition increases due to the student population from the 3 universities. Fairview, $1,900 average for a 1-bedroom apartment, offering much better value with more square footage per dollar than downtown. Clayton Park, about $1,950 for a 1-bedroom, often including heat and water, but larger units compared to downtown. Dartmouth, about $1,800 for a 1-bedroom apartment, and it's much popular now because the ferry access to downtown Halifax is making it appealing to the commuters. Vacancy rates in the rental market here are at 0.8%, the lowest in Canada, so there's intense competition for available units and rapid turnover. Quality rentals typically go on in 72 hours, so make your decisions quick, with viewings to an application often happening on the same day. Many units don't even reach public listings, rented through word of mouth or property management companies who have a waiting list, so network is critical. Applications do require a credit check, income verification with employment letter and pay stubs, references, and half a month's rent as the deposit, so having your documentation ready is essential. Looking at home buying would have a median detached home price of $550, depends where you are in the neighbourhood because you're talking $350 in semi-rural, $850 in South End, and prices have increased significantly since 2020. Semi-detached townhouses, about $350 to $450 median, with new construction in Bedford, Larry UTech, we're up over $550 there, and it does offer good points into the entry marketplace. Condos, we're like $400, $450 average, $1,000 plus $300 to $600 a month maintenance, with a significant variance based on age, location, and amenities, particularly waterfront properties. Interest rates are stabilized at like about 5% right now for a 5-year fixed mortgage, down from 2023, but still higher than that pandemic era when we were hitting 2.5%, and that affects affordability calculations. Desirable properties often receive multiple offers, though bidding wars are less common than in 21-22, but they still occur for well-priced, move-in ready homes in preferred areas. Looking at Nova Scotia tenancy rights, there is a half a month's rent for security deposit max, and also we're at 5% increase in 2025 on the rent. Fixed term leases are common, but they do get less protection, and 24 hours notice is required before landlord entry. I know it's a lot to take in, but it's all crucial information to help you decide if moving into Halifax is the right choice for you. This is the kind of insight you're not going to find anywhere else, so let's dive into our neighbourhood guide. Choosing the right neighbourhood in Halifax can save you thousands in transportation costs and significantly boost the quality of your life. After 18 years of helping hundreds of families relocate, I've developed some strong opinions on which areas are the best for different types of people. Let's look at family-friendly neighbourhoods first. Fairview has about 20 to 25% lower housing costs than downtown, with 3-bedroom homes going for about $400 to $500K and 2-bedroom apartments at about $1,800 to $2,200, offering excellent value for families. There are excellent parks and recreation facilities here as well, including Fairview Heights Elementary Playground, renovated in 2023, Mainland Common Sports Facilities, and Centennial Arena. It's about a 10 to 15 minute downtown drive, and there are also some direct bus routes, making commuting convenient for those who are working in the city centre. Fairview Junior High, Halifax West High School, both very solid reputations with a diverse student population. South End, this is where we're hitting the historical charm with prestigious homes from the 1890s to 1930s, ranging from heritage homes about $700,000 to $1.5 million to newer condos about $500,000 to $900,000. University proximity to Dalhousie, St Mary's, and the Atlantic School of Theology, which gets a vibrant academic atmosphere and rental opportunities. Point Pleasant Park offers 185 acres of trails and waterfront access, providing residents with exceptional natural space right in the downtown city. Excellent schools include St Charles Tupper Elementary and Inglis Street Elementary, plus private options like Sacred Heart School and the Halifax Grammar School for those seeking alternatives to public education. Bedford, this is only 20 minutes from downtown via the 102, which is a reasonable commute that can be offset by the quality of life and amenities in this affluent suburb. Excellent school system here with Bedford South School, CP Allen High School, which is consistently high in the provincial exam results, and Basin View Drive Community School. Waterfront attractions give you the Wolf Park as well as a splash pad and playground, Bedford Basin Yacht Club and Mill Cove Beach, providing excellent recreational opportunities. Housing here is about $450,000 to well over $900,000, with options ranging from established neighbourhoods to brand new developments in Parks of Bedford West, Larry Utek and Shore Drive waterfront properties, and of course Bedford South. Clayton Park is our most multicultural neighbourhood in Halifax, with strong immigrant communities, giving you a diverse and welcoming atmosphere for newcomers from around the world. You get good value here. Detached homes, we're talking $400,000 to $600,000. Townhouses, again in that same range, and apartments $1,500 to $2,200, all offering more space than similarly priced peninsula properties. It also has outstanding recreational facilities, including that Canada Games Centre, which is swimming, fitness, indoor track, courts as well. And then we have Mainland North Linear Parkway and Belcher's Marsh Park. Direct bus routes down to downtown and universities, and strong immigrant support services through the YMCA Centre for Immigration Programs help new residents settle in. Now we look at young professional hotspots. North End. Trendy area which has transformed over the past decade from working class to hipster haven, completely gentrifying with over $400 million in development since 2015. A vibrant food, brewery and coffee scene with some great breweries covering Good Robot as well as North Brewing, award-winning restaurants such as Edna and Bar Kismet, and independent coffee shops Java Blend and The Narrows. Homes have sold in 2015 for $250 and now selling for $550, with rental increases of 60% in the past 5 years, making it increasingly affordable for original residents. Very walkable neighbourhood though, with improving bike infrastructure, slightly more affordable than downtown, and also has better parking for residents. Downtown Halifax gets that classic urban lifestyle with 24/7 activities centred around the waterfront boardwalk that spans 4 kilometres from Pier A to Casino, Nova Scotia. Walk to work potential for major employees, including everyone at Purdy's Wharf Office Complex, Nova Scotia Power Headquarters, multiple government offices and financial institutions. It does come with premium pricing, but the potential is car savings, as studio apartments $1,700, 1-bedroom apartments $2,000 and 2-bedroom apartments $2,600, though many buildings do lack parking or they're going to charge you $150 to $250 extra a month. Vibrant entertainment though and cultural scene, and 7 major live music venues, Neptune Theatre, multiple cinemas, art galleries and nightlife centred around Argyle Street Entertainment District. Moving on to emerging value areas, let's talk Eastern Passage. This has got coastal charm with relative affordability, just a 20-minute commute to downtown via the Highway 111, giving you a maritime lifestyle without the peninsula premium. Homes here are $350 to $500 for detached properties, with the Ocean Breeze subdivision added over 400 new homes since 2018 to meet the growing demand. It's a 20-minute downtown commute, though limited public transport does mean that car is fairly essential for most residents. Features attractions like Fisherman's Cove, historic fishing village, McCormick's Beach Provincial Park and Rainbow Haven Beach are all nearby, offering quintessential maritime charm. Going over to Spryfield now, this has been historically overlooked, but it is now attracting first-time buyers as one of the last affordable areas which is close to the peninsula. Property prices though have increased about 35% in the last 5 years, but still gives you value. Detached home, we're talking $300,000 to over $600,000 if you're in Governor's Brook, and they're all semi-detached. Those ones will come in between 3 and 5, and again higher prices because of Governor's Brook, but still providing some of the best housing values in the region. Direct bus routes to downtown hospitals, along with good connectivity to the rest of the Halifax city. Large lots as well compared to Peninsula, 2 to 3 times the size, with significant investment in community facilities like the Captain William Spry Community Centre, the revitalised Long Lake Provincial Park and the recently rebuilt JL Isley High School. Now that we've covered the 6 key aspects of life in Halifax, let's break down the pros and cons to help you make an informed decision, because the truth is Halifax isn't for everyone, but for the right person it can be an incredible place to call home. Halifax gives you stunning coastal beauty and a strong sense of community and a vibrant cultural scene, all the while being a lot more affordable than Toronto or Vancouver. Beaches are just minutes away and the welcoming atmosphere makes it easy to feel at home here. Whilst we know house prices are rising, the overall cost of living is relatively reasonable for many people. However, the city does have its challenges. Limited public transport makes car ownership almost essential, and the housing market can be tough, especially for the newcomers. Damp, unpredictable weather is not for everyone, and accessing healthcare, particularly family doctors, can be difficult, but we're working on it. Halifax is a great fit for those seeking a bit of a slower pace of life, remote workers and professionals in key industries, but it may not be ideal for those who thrive on that big city energy or need extensive job opportunities in less established sectors. So, is Halifax the right place for you? Ultimately, it's going to come down to your personal preference and specific needs, and I really hope that this video has helped you figure that out. If you've made it this far, you're clearly serious about considering Halifax as your new home. Finding the right neighborhood takes time. Do your homework now to save you a lot of stress later. If you have any questions, reach out and feel free to get hold of me, richard@richardpayne.ca, or check the description down below for more ways to contact us. And before you go, if you found this video helpful, be sure to watch my next one right here on the screen. In this video, I'll dive deeper into the cost of living and what it's really like to be a Halifax resident in 2025.